So good afternoon, everybody. Let's start over again. My name is Chris Merlin, and welcome to Intro to NOVO training. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to go through a quick 5 to 7 minute case and background around NOVO, a little marketing information, if you will, a little background on the project. After that, I'm going to get into a 10 to 15 minute demonstration of the free tablet and PC software which we've released as part of the NOVO program. Hopefully many of you have had a chance to download and play with that. And finally, I'll give an opportunity here at the end of the meeting to open up for questions, live, do demos if you need on certain use cases. So these sessions have been taking somewhere in a half hour to 45-minute range, and I hope you'll learn and enjoy a lot about our new NOVO program today. So what I've shown on the first slide is a little bit of the background, what was happening on the market, the case for NOVO, if you will. Why has Kennametal chosen to invest in this exciting new program? And what you see on the left-hand side of the screen here is the megatrends which we're all being impacted by today, namely this technical talent gap, which we're experiencing all around the world for different reasons. In North America, it's been an underinvestment in this area over the last 20 to 30 years. In Europe, it's a bit of a demographic situation where there's simply just a shortage of people. And finally, Asia Pacific and emerging markets, the growth is outpacing the supply of technical talent. The other major thing that you see happening is this move towards automation, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But everything's becoming smarter, more digital in our personal lives, and also our factories. You see this movement to the digital factory. So what we heard from our customers is, hey, we have this need for enhanced productivity. In fact, we need to do more with less because actually we don't have enough people sometimes to fill these gaps. We need local and on-demand technical support. This is also something that's an enabler for our business. And we always need to reduce cost. And so this set the stage for Kennametal to invest in a digital transformation called NOVO. And it was really around leveraging industry trends such as ISO 13399, so standardization of digital cutting tool data, as well as MT Connect, which is the USB of machine tools so they can speak together. The new manufacturing 4.0, or Internet of Things, as General Electric calls it. And there's an opportunity really to meet these needs and revolutionize the way we work. We all work with our customers to bring productivity. So as I said, if you look at the case, what's happened over the last 20, 30 years, we're all experiencing this. We've moved from manual lathes to tape machines to CNCs and all the way into the drive for digitalization and simulation of everything in our factory. And you're moving towards a digital factory, if you will. What we see in the next 10 to 15 years is the key to success is how do you smartly connect these things? So how do you make the digital factory work in harmony? And to do this, it does require a bit of data around cutting tools and knowledge around cutting tools to make all these systems work together. So as Kennametal, we've been investing not only in the latest technology to make our cutting tools better, but the latest digital experience about how our products can interact in the digital factory of the future. And this is going to be critical for all of us moving forward to meet the challenges of the megatrend on the market. So what we've started first is in the process planning area. So typically in the past, we all know that cutting tools, while they're only 2 to 3% the cost of goods sold for a machine component, we all know that it's an enabler. If you can choose, apply machining strategies and cutting tools correctly, it's a huge enabler towards productivity in your machining process. But the key to that is always the knowledge and experience around the cutting tools, as well as the technology in the cutting tool. So what was happening in the past, you see on the right, is typically you're working operation by operation, spindle by spindle, machine by machine to optimize processes, which does work. Kennametal actually records millions of dollars a year in what we call tool performance reports for our customers. But what really is needed for the factory of the future is integrating this knowledge and data up front, as well as giving the productivity up front, so that you have true optimization through the art to part process. So the first phase of NOVO, which is a multi-year initiative from Kennametal, is all around the process planning, the CAD/CAM area, if you will. How do we create productivity for the process plan and the process planner by bringing our application knowledge into it? And it's really around eliminating non-value added work. So what we learned when we started talking to process planners, CAD/CAM, and engineers is they told us that they were spending an extreme amount of non-value added time searching catalogs, accessing, collaborating with multiple sources, trying to find the best, most productive solution. So what you see on the left here is a typical process planning task. You got this components, you gotta pick machining strategies, and hence cutting tool solutions for each one of these features. And we talked to a team, a four-person team of experts in this area. And what they told us is, in the past, this typically would take the either expert cutting tool guys about 2 days together to collaborate, to put together the process planning steps, the ops, the machining strategies, and the cutting tool solutions. And when they did that, not only was it completely very time-intensive, data-intensive, they wouldn't necessarily have the newest cutting tool technology because they kind of rely on tribal knowledge and what they know. They definitely wouldn't have looked up all the models and spare parts. So even if they do all this, they're still not ready to program a part. With the new free NOVO PC application, which is our digital assistant on demand, they're able to produce the same process plan, which is requiring 103 tooling assemblies. It's the latest cutting tool technology because it's the NOVO application is cloud enabled. It's working directly with Kennametal's business system, so you have the latest technology as we launch products. It's in there, and it's also presenting it in a very easy to use format, as well as giving all of the feed and speed recommendations and models and everything you need to program the part. So by creating this solution on the tablet or the PC, the customer is ready to plan and program his part in CAM. Much faster, much easier, much more user-friendly. So I'm going to go into a demo of the free PC and tablet application. And we launched the PC application at EMO in Hanover, Germany in September 2013. You might have seen that there's now versions available for tablets, Apple operating system, Android, and also Windows tablet versions. And that's really what's come out in the last 3 or 4 months. But that's just the beginning. Where Kennametal really sees this going is, how do we get this knowledge seamlessly into our customers' ecosystem so that they can work in their native environment and access and leverage this knowledge without really leaving it. So what I'm going to show you now is the first, what I'd call device or system agnostic free download. You can start to get familiar with it, start to save time in your tool selection and process planning. But in the future, we're going to take this data and enter, the industry, hopefully lead the Industry 4.0 movement and make this seamless for the digital factory of the future. So I appreciate you guys spending a little time. Hopefully you learned a little bit about what was in the background of this program from Kennametal, and you can see we have a lot of exciting things to come. Now I'm going to launch the tablet and PC application, which is free to download from kennametal.com/NOVO. And what you'll see when you log in is that it recognizes me, so it knows that this is Chris Merlin. It's logged in. It's because it's cloud enabled, and I've created what you call a cloud account. Now, what the cloud account allows me to do is to organize my tools and save my tools in lists of jobs. We call them jobs, if you will, but it's really a tool list, and it's only accessible by me. And it's a real productivity enhancer because I can use it as templates. I can share the jobs with other people, and it's a nice way to organize my tooling selections for my different process plans. However, I would tell you that you can use this solution without creating an ID. You could use it in the search methodologies without using job functionality. This would be kind of using it as a substitute for a website or a digital catalog. But the real power I'm going to show you in a minute is in this cloud-based job repository, which is something that really separates it from other solutions on the market. So a typical use case, I'm going to start out, a process planner has got a component, let's say it's a component like this, and it's got to write a process plan in his CAD/CAM program to machine this. So what you typically do is you're going to break it down into a series of features, and then into machining strategies, and then ultimately cutting and machining solutions. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to work on this hole here on the bottom right-hand side of the page. The first thing you'll notice is that it allows me to select the material in the job and save it. So I can select it at the high level, just general steel, stainless steel, or I could search. I can set it at the machinability group level, which is okay, but they generally are different from manufacturer catalog to catalog. Or I can just finally go in and search for what I know is the material spec. So I'm going to use the 1040 spec here. In Kennametal's system, this is classified as a P2 machinability group. So it's kind of already overcome that hurdle for all of you guys who are not material scientist experts like I certainly am not. So now that I've saved this in my job, typically a workpiece is only made of one material. It's already speeding my search by reducing the possible solutions to those that are best for 1040 steel, which is really what I want. So now, as I said, I'm going to work on this hole on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to go into what we call the tool advisor. So the tool advisor is I know what feature I want to make, help me make it. So it's a hole-making operation, and now I'm into templates that look very, very familiar to me as a process planner. In this case, it's a through hole, and you'll notice, clicked on through hole, it only has 3 pieces of required information, and it's filled one of them in already for me. It knows it's a P2 group. So I can do my entry in inch or metric. In this case, I'm going to work in metric, and I'm going to make a 9mm hole, plus 3 minus 0. And it's about a 50mm depth of hole. So that's all it requires to give me the solution. However, it allows me to give it additional information about preconditions or the operating environment. So in this case, I'm going to tell it about that 8-degree angle on the face of that workpiece that I've got to contend with when I drill this hole. So again, it's thinking like a process planner. Now it's going to go into something that looks very familiar with anybody who's done this. It's called a strategy. So every process planner's got different strategies for doing different features. And the benefit of this is, again, it's following the traditional process planning thought process. And it also is giving me, allowing me to pick the strategy I'm most comfortable with, or it's allowing me to experiment with different strategies. So in this case, I'm going to take the traditional hole drilling strategy. And once I click on that, you're going to see that it's going through 55,000 standard Kennametal tooling solutions to find the most productive and cost-effective tooling sequence to make this hole. So it's not just recommending the drill. You'll notice that it's identified that we have a couple preconditions there. First, that you've got a long L to D ratio. So that tells it 2 things. One is you have a long L to D ratio. Probably a replaceable tip drill is going to be a bit more cost-effective than a solid carbide drill. The second thing it's going to tell you is when you have a long L to D ratio, something longer than say 5 times D, you've got to pre-center drill that hole. So now it's picked the shorter version of the Ken tip to go with my long drill, and it's recognized I have that 8-degree angle on the face of the workpiece. So remember when I talked about being a digital application engineer? No longer do you have to rely on someone finding that footnote back on page 492 of our 2,000-page catalog that says, hey, if it's greater than 5 degrees, you got to mill a flat. This thing knows those rules already. It's picked an end mill, the most productive end mill we have in our solution, and now it's giving me a perfect 3-tool sequence to do that. It also allows me to view alternate choices. So maybe I don't normally stock a Ken tip, and I want to go through here and maybe look for a solid carbide drill, I certainly can do that. So I'm going to go with what NOVO has recommended, this three-tool sequence, and this is where the job functionality starts to come into effect. So I add it to my job. Now I've got it saved for future use. I could, maybe I was working with a colleague of mine in the process planning department and said, hey Joe, remember that work piece we were working on? Well, I got a nice solution for that hole on the right-hand side. Let me share that job with you. I put his email address in. If he's got a cloud account, it's just going to pop up right in his tool list as well. So he'll have a copy of it. I retain a copy on my desk so that I can continue to use it. He can change it on his end, send it back, so you have the original copy, and he can also play with it. So now I've got my three-tool sequence for this hole, and I want to go ahead and program my machine. So next thing I've got to contend with is I've got to build my tooling assemblies, and I've got to adapt it to my machine. So I'm going to pick the end mill that's on here. I'm going to open it, and now it's going into what they call the tool configurator. So the configurator is a smart system which maps stuff that fits together and works together. So it error-proofs for you. You know the stuff is supposed to go together. It won't give you a weld and shank into a hydraulic chuck. And it speeds your selection process because once I add the adaptive item, it's starting only with the 40 items that fit this particular tool, not the 1,000-page systems catalog. So I can go in. Typically, we think about system sizes. Say I got KM in my shop here. I can check availability if I want live. So we used to only give availability information to folks with a commercial account, which is typically the purchasing people. If you're a process planner or working in CAD/CAM, you may not have access to purchasing, but you need to know the tools in stock if you got that job tomorrow. So that's another new thing from NOVO. We're answering for the guy who's programming it. Does it work for me, and is it in stock at Kennametal, which is great. So I'm going to add this assembly. I'm going to add this to my assembly, and now it's building live for me the piece of information as a process planner I really need to program my part. It's building my 3D assembly model. It also allows me to download it into common files for import into my simulation or CAD/CAM system. In fact, if you go to the Vericut website, you'll see they've got a nice demo on there on how the models work very well with their system. But this is a full working model. Download into my system, and it's really the data I need. And it gives me a dynamic feed and speed calculator, so I can change the feeds and speeds as I wish, and it'll save it along with this model and go with the job. So the job package has got all the information I need to program my part. So in this case, I can change the radial width of cut, maybe not so applicable in a small end mill, but a large indexable face mill. I could try radial engagement, see how it affects my horsepower requirements and so forth. So that's the first use case. I've found a feature I want to program. I've given a little information to the application. It's given me the most productive sequence to machine that. It's allowed me to save it in a job for future reference. It's given me the feeds and speeds and the models, and it's allowed me to adapt it to my machine, and I've got a great solution for that feature. The next use case you might have in this same job is, I don't want NOVO to give me, I know what I'm looking for. So let me look in here in what we call the search by product family. So I go into the search by product family, and this is an electronic catalog, if you will. Now remember, I've selected P2, so instead of seeing 55,000 Kennametal tools, you're already only seeing the subset that's really good for P2. So I'm looking for a drill. We'll go with the drill example again. And what's nice about NOVO is I can actually stack capabilities on top of, or features on top of each other to further refine the set. So a use case might be, I got to make this workpiece in P2. I got to in 1040 steel. I got to buy a new drill for it. But I get a lot of jobs in titanium or Inconel, so I want to make sure that it'll work in high temp alloys as well. So now that I've added that on, you'll see the subset of solutions has come down. So sorry about that. I got to get into the high temp alloys. So the subset of solutions has come down. I've got only solutions that work in P2 steel and high temperature alloys. Now I'm going to go in typical use cases. It's diameter, right? You're looking for a drill, so give me a quarter inch drill. You can also type it in there. I just click on there. I'm more comfortable with the drop-down menus, and max hole depth of over 1.5 inches. Now I've got, in a couple clicks, from 55,000 items down to the 4 drills that'll work for my application. Now the use case might be, well, if any of these will work, let me find the one that's in stock locally. I can click on this one very easy. That one's not in stock, so I could go back and pick another one here, see if it's in stock. We'll find one that's in stock, add it to my job. Perfect. This one's in stock. I'm going to add it to my job. So in a matter of a few seconds, in the former environment, if I'm a process planner, I might have went through all that process. It would have taken me, what we find is you're saving about 50 to 75% of your time versus using catalogs. So I would have gone through all that time in the catalog. Sorry about that. I go through all that time in a catalog. Then you only need to send it to your purchasing agent and you find the items not in stock, or you send it to your distributor, you find items not in stock. That is really frustrating. So if you've got a job tomorrow, you can find the drills that fit your tool that fits your requirement, confirm it's in stock, send it off, and the final step is once you send it to your purchasing agent, what they can now do is easily add the tools to their shopping cart, so they can add this drill that you added here, or add the whole assembly, or they can add just a piece of the assembly. Now they can easily go in, enter their Kennametal Connect account, or if you've sent it to the distributor, they can add their Connect account, and they can order it. It's very seamless to work with the commerce part of it. The last use case I'm going to use is what's called a quick search. So this is your typical Boolean or Wildcard search, and this is kind of handy. What I see the best use cases for this is I have a milling head, or I have a carrier body, and I want to find all the related inserts that fit it, or I just have a material master and I want to find the feeds and speeds. So you can search by material master or any attribute. I'm going to search by Go Drill, just so I know what that is. In fact, I got to put that in. So it takes me to the catalog page. I can pick the item I want, add it to my job, and now I can easily get in and find the feeds and speeds information for this particular tool in whatever material I need. So you could, in that wildcard search, you can basically enter any attribute with asterisks, so you could enter I don't know if anybody out there has got a material master or whatever, or you could enter a K star something, you'll get all the KSEM items. But that's a very, very handy feature for looking up particular products or families to use. So the last thing I'd like to share with you is, now that you've got your job, I think this is one of the maybe I should show this first, what's the output of it. But now that you've got this job that you've tooled up, you can download the report into Excel. And this is really handy for a couple reasons. One is, when you're transferring data into your CAD/CAM system or your ERP system or your purchasing system, a spreadsheet makes this very easy. In fact, we have a video out there on how to use this connected with our Connect system as well. The other thing about it is the report kind of gives you an analog way. You can print it out, you can share it. It gives you an easy way to share the information around this particular job, even if someone doesn't have a digital application or doesn't have NOVO. Everybody can use an Excel file or a PDF. So if you give it just a second here, it runs a little slower when I have the live meeting data running here. You're going to see what is a very nice report with with an overview sheet on the front. So you've got overview sheet on the front with the picture of the part I've put in here, and that's just a JPEG picture from my computer. It's not an actual file. You've got an overview of who made it, what the material is. You can put some notes in here if you want. You have all the tools that you selected for this particular job. And then each tool assembly has its own page with all the spare parts. We find this is a tremendous pain point for our customers. So you got a picture of the assembly, all the spare parts, 2D dimensional data for the individual components, and all the related application data at the bottom. So this is a very, very portable way to share information about a tool list or a set of tools. Very easy to share information around this job. So hopefully what I set out to do today I've accomplished. I gave you a little background on where the market's going, why NOVO is bigger than just the application you see here, why Kennametal has chosen to go this way in a digital transformation. And I hope that you've seen just really, I think, the tip of the iceberg of the major functionality of the NOVO PC and tablet application, which is the tool advisor, the tool selector, the quick search, the job functionality, the models and data, the reporting functionality, and the easy link to our e-commerce system. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you can see we're very excited about the new program. We have lots of other developments on the way. IMTS is certainly going to be exciting. And I'd like to open it up to anybody to ask questions, use cases, whatever I can do to help get you going on this application. Any questions out there? If you're speaking, you're on mute. Okay, well, if there's no questions, I guess we can end our webinar today. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend. And I would like to highlight, if you have any questions or issues, we have instant support right in the app. There's a help button. It takes you to an email account. Drop us a screenshot, drop us a comment, any question you have, and our development team and technical support team will come back and answer your question. So thank you very much.
I have a question, Chris.
Yes.
This is Tony from Sweden. I have a question. When do we get the torque for all the screws on the tools in the system?
Yeah, Tony, that's a little bit longer project because we don't have the data actually in the background stored. So I think it's about a year out.
Okay.
We do have it for some products, it's in the catalog, but not all. In fact, some of them it does pop up in the job report because they've saved it near the screw, but it's not many. So, this is one of these things you don't realize which data you need until you start using it. So we have to connect that up. Any other questions? So there's recordings of these sessions out on the NOVO, kennametal.com/NOVO. You can share. There's self-help videos, some other videos out there. I encourage you to go out there if you need any more information or help. Have a great, great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.